What's going on, YouTube? Back at you with another one. We got podcast number 6, and I got 2 special guests here. You guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hey, my name is Percy Brown, a.k.a. Mr. 240 Pounds of Twisted Steel and Sex Appeal. Also the host of Prince of Fresh Air podcast, available on Spotify. Thank you for having me, Dimitri.
My man.
What's good, y'all? My name is Kirby. I'm an artist and entrepreneur. I'm passionate about creating and helping others reach their goals. And I'm happy to be a part of the discussion.
My man.
Absolutely.
So there will be timestamps in the description below, although I encourage you to watch the whole video straight up. So basically, one of the things that I definitely wanted to get into with you guys was just the whole path of being a creative and trying to dedicate your life to the 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to preface the whole discussion by pretty much asking y'all, like, how y'all got to start and, what made you choose, being an actor? What made you choose being a creative artist, photographer, all of that?
Right. Yeah, I guess I'll start first. So my journey pretty much began for me in 9th grade, more so towards 8th grade. We grew up watching Disney Channel, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I went to a performing arts high school. I worked with a professional theater company in New York called Epic Theater. And I gained over 5 years of theater, experience doing that off Broadway at my school. Did a couple of touring gigs as well. And then I also studied theater in college, St. Bonaventure University, where I pretty much did Shakespeare again. But I also learned to study TV and film, which kind of helped me translate to where I am now, which is being represented, living in LA now, and life is going good.
All right.
That's cool, bro. But yeah. So basically, photography, music, film, something I'm super passionate about. And also I'm like very business minded. So I kind of got my start with creating music. Always been doing that forever. That's a way of expression. With photography, it started out taking, when you're taking photos, you and the boys, like high school stuff. And I used to always be the one who wanted to take the photos, you know what I'm saying? And after a while, I started seeing the impact that it had. And I was like, damn, I really like this. And that, I just kept doing that until it became something that I do. Now it's what I do for a living,
Right.
Now it's something that I do for a living and I enjoy it. So, I just value, having a vision of creating something that could kind of just piece everything together, bring people together, make real changes, especially for creatives. Because I feel like people, when you tell people you're creative, they're like, oh, yeah, what else do you do? Kind of a thing. So, it's like my goal to change that narrative. So, that's kind of how it got started for me. And the journey continues. We here, we strong, we still going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Shit for me is like it was 2 things. So when I was like 4, not 4, I say like 5, 6 years old, it was either I was going to be a veterinarian or I was going to be an actor. It was one or the other. Like since then, I haven't thought of like another career path choice like ever other than that. I'm allergic to cats, so I don't think you could be a veterinarian, you know what I'm saying, if you're allergic to cats. So you feel me? And
you'll be looking like
I mean, no, because you know what it is. You know what it is? It's just that I always wanted to be like an influencer. So I always wanted to like make somebody else feel the way that I felt every time like I left the movie theater going to go see Will Smith. You know what I'm saying? Like it just always made me feel that type of way. I always wanted to be that for somebody else. And I thought like that at a very early age, like, which is kind of crazy. So like I'd be looking, if I had a son, I'd be looking at him like, whoa, if he was feeling like that, that early. And I just never really, went back on that like ever.
Right.
And then really kind of sort of got I really started taking it seriously in 2016. And then just from there, just figuring out the business and trying to, go from there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely remember because we talked about that when we was doing the Spike Lee thing.
Yeah.
Well, she's gotta have it too. I almost forgot what it was.
That was the second season. Yeah, that was the second season.
Second season. Yeah, for sure. That was a good experience.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll take the lead on this question. So, since we're talking about how we started, we might as well keep it rolling. How has the journey been for you guys? Has it been smooth? Has it been hard? Has it been just the standard bumps along the way?
Kurt, you got that, bro.
I feel like the journey, if anything, is my favorite part of the whole ride, because it's through the journey that you really get to experience. And that is through the journey you basically become who you're becoming right now. It's really through the journey. So for me, I really enjoyed the journey. Not to say that the journey's been all smooth, and it's been a complete opposite. It's been ups, it's been downs, but that's the beauty of it, where I feel like if it wasn't like that, imagine if the journey was smooth. There's no challenges, there's no bumps, there's no way for you to really grow. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when we as artists, as whatever it is, when we experience, obstacles, that's what pushes us to grow. It's something that's challenging the way that you are right now, the way that you're thinking, the things that you're doing, decisions that you're making. Something that challenges that is what forces you to really grow. So for me, the journey is something that I really enjoy. And what's really trippy about it is sometimes I think about the fact that what I really hate about it is the uncertainty.
Who you telling, bro?
Right.
Right. I mean,
it's like not knowing what's gonna happen.
Preaching to the choir over here, man.
Right, it's part of having a story to tell, because it's like, if you're right, like if everything was smooth, then like what you gonna say? You know what I mean? Like if you did an interview or somebody asked you, what was it like? How could you really inspire people if there was no conflict, there was no adversity, there was no none? I mean, if I had to answer that question, I'd say shit's been difficult, because even on like a basic level, like you really gotta like defend your aspirations and your goals every day. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I mean, Kirby, we talked about it where like how I was asking what it was like for you when you quit your job to just be a photographer full time. I know you can't, get next to somebody who's just had a job for, 20, 25 years and telling them, oh, I'm going to, quit my job. I'm going to just be creative full time. Then they going to knock you for that.
That's a fact.
I get knocked, like Lily, when I tell you I've been knocked like for years and years and years about this shit, like I've really just been knocked for just wanting what I want for myself out of life. Because we don't do what we do for the money. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you were doing photography for the money, you probably wouldn't do it as much. Or you probably would have quit your job and then just did it on the side for extra money. No, you do it because that's what you love to do. You know what I mean?
100%.
Freaking person. We wouldn't be out at freaking in Brooklyn at 5 o'clock in the morning trying to make a 5:30 call time if we didn't love being part of the process. We might not have been in front of the camera, but we love being like just being there, just being involved and just getting to look, see if you game and learn. But I say, the downside to that, or I say like the worst part is like just getting knocked. Like I was working like 2-3 days ago. I wish you guys were there. So I'm sitting at my work. Customer comes up and then he's like, "Oh, you seem like a nice guy." I'm like, "Okay, all right." And then he said, "Oh, well, you should be a police officer." I'm like, "Nah, because I think I want to work for myself. I want to be able to cut my own checks and then decide which days. Work with people, not working for somebody. I gotta wake up and be somewhere because they say I have to be. So I don't want to do that. You can't call that a life. At least for me, it might be right for you, but saying it's not for me." And he's like, "Oh yeah, well, there's a pension for $140,000 after 8 years of service and all this stuff." I'm like, "Nah, bro." And then it's like, whatever it is that I want for myself is like speaking Greek to them, because they're just not gonna get it. It's not gonna get it. I'm just in a space right now where I just want to be somewhere safe where I can like do my thing and then like pursue what I want to pursue and not have to worry about anybody, you know what I'm saying, just like trying to tell me what to do and want something for me more than I do.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But if you think about it, that's the reason why there's fewer people who are living that lifestyle.
That's a fact.
Because not everybody's comfortable even exploring that. Like, I'm sure there's like people out there who think all the time, like, yeah, I wish I could, just be a dancer, for life. But they're probably like scared, like, well, how am I going to pay the bills, this and that. Right. So for them, it might be that disconnect of, they didn't pursue it and they didn't see how it could happen. So I feel like people reflect their limitations on us. So other times they're like, yeah, you should try to do this because you could probably do this. But over here, I don't know if that could work. People reflect their limitations on us, and sometimes that's the part that's hard about like being an artist is you have to be strong for yourself, but for others around you too. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that where it's like, where it's like other people are not gonna get a certain lifestyle, and you still pushing. You have to be strong for yourself so that you can have the energy, the motivation to keep grinding. But then you got to be strong for others, you're taking a chance, and there's other people who might believe in you, and then you almost have to carry that and know that, okay, I have to fulfill this because other people, they believe in me blindly, even though they don't see it, they still believe in us. So
100%.
Definitely a journey.
Yeah. I think the smooth part about that process is literally just doing the work. Whatever it is that you want to do, you know what I'm saying? And not getting attached to the outcome, but just being the fact that, all right, like this, I'll say that and then we'll get into the next topic though. But basically, I've walked out of like a show, a theater show, or, background gig or, whatever, and being like this is cool. Like, this is it. Just being able to reach. All right, so I say like a theater show, just like reaching people. When people come up to me and they're like, oh, I really enjoyed your show. Wow, it was great. To me, I remember I left, I was like, wow, like this is it. So even if it's not, because it's not about, oh, I want to be rich and I want to be famous. It's not about that. Because if it was, then I, like I was saying to you, I probably wouldn't do it as much because there's been plenty of times where I've done stuff and I didn't get paid for it. Or I didn't get paid much. But that's the smooth part. You know what I'm saying? Especially like right now, like not doing it as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know for me, it's been, I won't say rough. It's been bumpy. You have times, especially in this business, the entertainment business, where a lot of people don't realize you have to put in the work. So, you know what I'm saying? So the days where we have to get up at 4 a.m. and make that 6:30, 5:30 in the morning call time to do background work.
Man.
It was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah.
But at some point, like Kirby said, it's all mental. So you have to find a way to change that. So like now I don't do background no more.
Right.
And I'm fortunate enough to now I have people behind me who gets me in the room for like HBO and, all these major companies. But it took a while for me to get here. I remember last year where I was just sitting at my buddy's house playing video games and hoping that something will come to the door. So I had to kind of just get up and do my own thing. And
create that,
of course, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Rejection is just part of the game. And you have to be able to take it, roll with it, and learn from it. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
that's definitely true.
So
I'm definitely curious about actually, which is on the list, but I'm definitely curious about what motivates you guys to keep going, because it's definitely something I could see. Like I know that with me, and I know it's true for y'all. Like this is definitely a challenging lifestyle that people want to think about. So what motivates you to keep going with this lifestyle?
Percy, you want to go?
Yeah.
You want to go?
I take good pride in my mental health. I never struggled with depression or anything, but I remember just for a quick example, yesterday, I finished watching Avengers Endgame, and I always love watching those movies, not because of the action, but because of the chemistry of the actors and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I took the time to go and watch like the behind the scenes. The casting directors talked about the casting process, and the actors talk about what it's like to work on these big sets and getting those opportunities. Mm-hmm. And it's a constant. You have to constantly think about the long-term goal of things, and I think people get wrapped up in the short term. I'm not booking no gigs. Things aren't going well for me. But then, you have someone like Robert Downey Jr. who went to rehab for drugs and fell out the game for so many years, and then came back and became Iron Man. So while his story isn't related to mine, it's, watching these interviews, studying these people, and, listening to what they say. Yeah. And then also just going out for walks, what I'm saying? Just a simple walk, 30-minute walk. Just think, allow yourself to breathe, disconnect from social media, which is another issue in itself. But just
we talked about that. Check it out.
It's sometimes, you know what, man, you run yourself into the ground, and then sometimes you need a mental reset. So my thing is just going for walks, put my music on, sit down somewhere, and just look at the sky, and just look at all the blessings that I got. And then realize, all right, I got these blessings, but it doesn't end here. My journey didn't stop. Yeah. So what is my next goal? What is my next move? And stuff like that. So it's all mental for me, all mental.
And I'll say, like, all right, so normally, when I do, the podcast, normally we like, I'll ask you, like, what was a high point you had in the past week or a low point? Bro, when I tell you, and this is funny that you bring this up, because I actually wanted to ask you guys that so I could maybe try to, apply it to myself in my own mind, bro. The last 2 weeks, been trash. I'm talking about nonstop L's like every day. Like maybe not even things that like have happened, but I'm just talking about like the way I've been feeling, bro. And I didn't feel like okay till like maybe the last like 48 hours. I'm talking about like not sleeping, just how I've been feeling, just like, you know, about just everything. And I was thinking about the podcast too. Like, I couldn't wait to do it just so I could ask you guys that question. But what I will say that somebody should do, or what I do, aside from like going out for walks and basic, you know, doing things that are healthy for you, is try to figure out ways to like stay active. Like I'll say, like I just did like a Wonder Woman, you know, like trailer reaction, you know, just something as simple as that took me like 10 to 15 minutes to do. It felt good doing it, you know, because it's just being creative and just expressing yourself and just getting it out of your system. Because sometimes when you're just sitting there, you know, like loafing and not doing anything, like especially me, I'm the type of person where like, yo, once I start wallowing and I get like, woe is me, bro, yo, I'll be staying there. Like for real. So then I'm like not going on walks. I'm not doing any. I haven't been uploading anything. I'm going to work. That shit like drains me. Like, dude, I was at work on Saturday and I seen my like work schedule for this week, and I was really like, that was the first time I felt like my heart sunk, bro. Because this is not what I want to be doing. So I'm also like, dang, like I don't want to be doing this shit. I'm just coming to work every day. They're telling me what to do. I have no value here. You know what I mean? And then how like that's like a conundrum that like just gets more negative and worse and worse and worse over time. Right. But this is getting back on a horse, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no matter, like, what's going on, there's always something that you can do, whether you realize it or not. You know, like, I'm saying this to you guys, I'm, like, vicariously saying this to myself, you know, where you feeling like trash, cool, just get back up. You know, they say you fall down 7 times, you stand up 8 times. You just keep getting up, you know, just no matter what. Because what we're doing and what we want to do, like, with ourselves in our life, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You know what I mean? Exactly. There are going to be times where it's not going to be constantly on the up and up and up, which is what, you know, social media would have you believe, but it's not.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Before we get into the next one, I do want to ask Kirby something.
What's up?
But before I ask you, I do want to say something real quick. I know since we talking about this, one of the biggest things that have been getting me through these times, and I'm not going to get into it too much because I know we're going to talk about it, but going back to New York, you know, New York is even now, you know, you see people hustling, people doing like food deliveries, walking miles to deliver food and stuff. And that's always a constant reminder to me that, you know what I'm saying? We're only on this earth for so long. You know what I'm saying? You got to go out and do what you got to do. So I think for me, especially living in a place like LA where everything is a little more superficial, I should say, going back there kind of helped me ground myself. So
coming back to New York.
Yeah, come back to New York, yeah. Because I just came back last week. So I came back with a fresh mind. I don't know if I would have stayed in LA for the last month and a half, I'd still be motivated, but I don't know to what point I would be. You know what I'm saying? So the question I did have for Kirby is it's nothing crazy, but I've been seeing a lot of photographers on Instagram and people, trying to get into photography. What are some of the biggest misconceptions? Because I know there's a lot, or maybe just a couple that I've always been curious about, seeing those angles and stuff like that, but people don't know about. So what are like some misconceptions for you about photography that people have?
I feel like some of the misconceptions is that, I feel like people look at it like it's really around what does a photographer do. Like some people think that it's easy to take photos, to just like, a lot of people think that, okay, like you got a camera, the camera's doing the work. But if I were to give you this camera, and it's funny because what's really ruining the culture, what's really ruining the culture of photography and what it could be is technology, which is funny because it's what's helping it becoming the next thing, to get to the next phase. But that's the same thing that's ruining it, and specifically smartphones. Like everybody with an iPhone feel like they could be a photographer, and you have platforms like Instagram that basically you could literally go on there and just post something. Now like it's easy to get, like cameras are so accessible to people that anybody could, like I remember a few years ago, this was when I was like first starting out, and I remember I just got a new camera and I was feeling good about it. It wasn't even like the high end top level, professional camera.
How long ago?
Like the middle level. This was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
This was like
2015, 14,
yeah,
15?
like 14, 15, exactly. So yeah. So around that time, I remember I felt good. I was going around taking photos and stuff. And then I remember I was in the city and I was having this conversation with somebody. They had a camera and I was asking what kind of camera. We were just talking about photography. Right. And, I came to find out, I'm just asking like, okay, what is it that you do? Because I'm like, yo, he has like, you're talking about top of the line camera. I'm like, yo, this is nice. This is nice. Like that TikTok. But, what I'm saying? So he had the camera and I'm like, what do you do? Like, what do you use it for? He's like, oh, just take photos of food and cool stuff and post it on Instagram. I'm just like, bro,
you can't make this stuff up.
I'm trying to do for a living, and I'm out here hustling. You know what I'm saying? Word. Yeah. And he's over here like, yeah, I just have this super expensive camera, just be doing take photos, food, blah blah. And right. It's cool that people could do that, but I feel like it really changes the conception that people have about photographers. Like people think that if you just have a camera, you could just do it. There's so much more that goes behind it that people don't realize. It's about framing. It's about lighting. Photography.
People don't know that. People don't know that, bro.
Yeah.
They don't understand.
Hey, say that again. It's not about the camera. It's about the person.
My favorite definition of photography is that photography is basically writing with light. Oh, that's my cat.
So, he's trying to get in a shot.
Oh, no.
He's trying to be in there. But yeah, that's my favorite definition of it. Photography is writing with light. And you think about it, it's a digital image. But like if I were to turn off my light right now, you can't capture anything. Photography, like people don't think of it like that. You're really capturing light and then what's in front of the frame. It's the frame and the light that you're really capturing. Right. So, people think that, you holding a camera, the camera's doing a job, but there's a lot of things, like how do you want to capture the light? It's not about just capturing the light. How do you want to capture it? You want to capture the hard light, soft light? You want to capture what kind of exposure, angles? It's a lot of things that go. And then even beyond that, a professional photographer is completely different. For the past few weeks, I've been doing a lot of shoot, but you know what I've been doing a lot more? The business side, marketing, finances. Right. People don't think about that. That photographers do that. When you're a photographer, you don't just have one role. You play multiple roles. I wear a different hat every different day. You know what I mean?
You have to be a jack of all trades in a way.
Exactly. So a lot of people have, misconceptions about that. And, when it comes to me personally too, like, I feel like a lot of people, like if you go on my Instagram right now, my photography page, and if I were to ask you what kind of photography you think I do, I bet you, it'll be based off what you see on my Instagram, right? And that's the thing. I feel like I don't really look at myself like, I feel like people would label me as like like fashion photographer. And I do enjoy it. Right. And I do enjoy, I guess you could say, fashion photography, but it goes beyond that. It's just that on that page, I'm choosing what work I share. It's kind of like, think of it like maybe to relate it in your field. You wouldn't post about every single show you do that you audition for, or this and that.
What we want them to see,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
You're only seeing what you choose to show them, not necessarily like they're not seeing everything. You're only just seeing a very small percentage. Yeah, I think we talked about that,
exactly.
And like when we talked about social media, because people don't see the whole thing, but they're only judging it based off of really what's 2%, 10%, a very small percentage. So yeah, you're right.
Exactly. So yeah, when people see that, they could think, okay, it's this and that, but it's not. And that's why I feel like, like nowadays, I don't even like the title photographer, because I just feel like it just creates this box. And especially a person like me who I'm multi-creative. I do a whole lot of different things. And, the struggle with that is finding the balance. It's finding the balance when there's different things that you want to do. You can't do everything all at once. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe that you can do everything in a sense. It just takes time and balance, we don't know how much, to go with what you said. We don't know how much time that we have left, but it just takes time to do things, Look at Will Smith. The guy has been a successful rapper, a successful actor. It just takes time. You can't say it can't be done. It's just it can't be done all at once.
Yeah.
So it just takes time. You know what I mean?
You just gotta water. You just gotta water it like a plant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
And what's funny, just to piggyback off that just a little bit. You know what I hate? It's like, all right, so you give somebody, you tell them, take this picture from me, and then they give it back to you. They neglect the lighting, the framing, and they be like, "Oh yeah, but that's a good picture." I'd be like, "What the fuck? Are you what are you looking at?" Like, right? It's like, yo, you're seeing the picture yourself before you even press the button. It's not the camera, it's you. My mindset is like, no really excuse to take a whack ass photo because you saw it before you pressed the capture button. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why it's like you're literally like the only one that I know that's like actual like photographer that can take fucking pictures. Everybody else, it's like it's a drag because I gotta like take the picture of them multiple times for them to get it wrong 100 times and finally get the shit right. Which is why, like I said, I gotta support this guy because I don't want to have to go through that shit. You know, I don't have to go through it.
I feel that respect.
Because when I work with him, like we worked together, like we was mad hype last time because it was like a cool creative collab process. I came with an idea, boom. If I try to get a random person who doesn't have like a photographer side or anything like that, hour and a half, 2 hours, might even be a waste of time.
but you're missing the key point here.
Because this goes on to what he was saying, where it's a craft. Like you can't just say like I'm a photographer. Really, I'm an artist. Really, he an artist. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a whole lot more that goes to that than just I got the camera, I got the lighting equipment, I got all this shit. I mean, yeah, you got a lot of motherfuckers who have that, but are they really that good? Are they really artists? Will they consider themselves? Like I said, it's levels to the shit.
No, I wanted to know, Percy, what were you gonna say? You're saying something about a point that he was making.
He's missing the key point here. You know, I may suck as a photographer, but I need my $3,000 fee. You know what I'm saying?
This guy,
get paid.
So we got this running gag and shit. Where what the hell did that shit even come from? I don't even remember. I think I did his podcast like was it like a month ago, and then since then he's like, "Yeah, you owe me $2,000. This number keeps on changing. What later for that?"
I need to get paid for my craft, man. I don't care how much I suck. I need my money. What my money?
Hey, but that's funny though. This is another part of the conversation that I feel like is because you have, and this goes in all fields, right? You have the people who do it for the money, and when you think about it, there's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, business is business. Like we live in a capitalistic like society, you know what I'm saying? Right. And then there's the people who do it, you know, for the passion, and the money comes with it. You know, it's a byproduct. You know, and that's two sides. You have that. Like I know photographers who I know people like legit somebody I used to work with. You know, they're like, yo, I'm about to buy a camera, man. I think I could be making some money with this photography. I know people who do it on the side. Like they have a job, you know, and they just do it just to get extra money. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's cool and all, but it's just that sometimes people, when their actions and the way they do things, it kind of just gives the impression to the public that this is, you know, what it's really what it's about, when it's not. It's like, you know, you would have to experience it to kind of understand that, you know. And you know, another misconception, this one is huge, you know, is the concept that some people are afraid to work with photographers because they might think, you know, photographers are creep. But it's funny, it's where that comes from, because you have the ones like I've seen, you know, there's been like, I don't know if you guys know, I forgot his name. He was like Kim Kardashian's photographer, you know. And there's a bunch of, but I don't remember his name. There's a bunch of models who were coming out saying, you know, he was doing this and saying this and that to them. And in the field, it's like, that's going to happen. But people are going to think this is just, you know, especially if you know, like photographers who shoot with a lot of like females and models and everything. And where it's like, now there's this concept that, oh, photographers going to do this and that. When it's like,
right,
there's different elements to it. There's and it's sad that there's people who do it for that reason. You know what I'm saying? Just there's truth be told, there's people who do it like, yo, with this camera, I could attract this kind of, you know, people. It's gonna happen, but it's like it gives a bad name to, you know, photographers. But
I feel you.
Hey, at the end of the day, I just really feel like, you know, it's something that's powerful, and I don't feel like there's a lot of people, not that there's not a lot, I feel like, you know, maybe a lot of photographers don't have the same relationship with photography that I do. I just see it as, it's something that's powerful for so many different reasons. It's not just capturing, you know, people. I don't look at it like you're just capturing a portrait. It's creating, you know, an image. Like when you think about, you know, powerful image that you see throughout history, you know, it's like, I feel like every time you take a photo of somebody, it's like you're capturing history, you know, and it's just, it's huge. And
That's beautifully said.
there's some people do it for, yeah. Some people do it for the reason of, you know, the art, and some people do it for profit. But at the end of the day, it's
I think that's what separates like the two. You know how they say like that separates like the boys from the men, that sort of thing. You know,
Right.
You
know, before we move on, since we talk about misconceptions, do you want to get into some about the acting world that people might have? Because I have a few.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
What do you think? I can start off if you want me to. All right, so here's the biggest one that I've encountered multiple times is that everybody think that it's the easiest thing in the world to be an actor, and it's far from the truth. And I always tell people, if you want to be an actor, go do background. You don't even got no lines. Just show up and see how much fun you think is going to be. And people don't realize, like, you're on set for 12 plus hours, 15, 16 hours.
All day.
All day. And if you have lines, there's multiple takes. So something like, you know, for me, when I watch Avengers and stuff, it's cool to watch it. But now, since I experienced what it's like to do multiple takes and stuff, I think about stuff like that. I'm like, all right, that probably took them like 15 takes to get that one minute of dialogue in there. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. It's a lot of moving parts into just making one scene out of a 2-hour movie. And I would say, you know, for me, doing a 15-minute short film, that still took about, you know, 10 hours of a day to just get that done. So I think people think that just anybody can just get up and start being an actor without any training and experience, without any sense of what it's like to be on set. Because it's different. It's different going from student films to a major production. Way different. I mean, you can't even think about the difference. But what about you, Dimitri? Any ones that stand out to you?
I mean, not really, to be honest with you. I think you kind of covered what might have already been in my head anyway. I think you just can't do it if you don't love to do it. Small scale, big scale. Because you do a small play, you do a small independent film, whatever, it's a commitment. How are you going to make a commitment to something that you know for a fact you're not really going to be down for it, like in the long run? You're not going to be willing to put the time in, right? Because it's like, there's when you get there, but then there's the homework that you do when you're by yourself, whether you're breaking the script down, you're thinking of like the off page, off screen, where the character's going from, where he's, you know, coming to, all these different types of things. And how can you do that if you don't really love to do it? And I think that's a misconception. I think because people think that it's easy, that everybody can do it because it's easy. They're like, oh, you're an actor. I can do that. Same thing with photography. Oh, give me that camera. I can do that. And then fucking can't do it. They can't do this. And that's why sometimes when you tell people that don't really think the way that we do, they don't give it the respect because they look at it as, oh, he's just taking pictures. He's just an actor. Oh, give me those lines.
Right.
Okay, go ahead. And then when them lights come on, you know, or lights, they say action. Can you do this?
You better be ready. You better be ready.
Do it? Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like that it just doesn't get, you know, a creative path doesn't get the respect that it truly deserves because the motherfuckers that don't give it respect have never done it, so they don't know what it's like. You put somebody in that actual environment, then they're going to say, oh, okay, now I see what you're talking about. Now I realize that I can't do it or just not everybody can do it. So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely one.
Yeah. I know one short one for me would be, and this is something I kind of encountered when I moved here, was that a lot of people think moving to LA that they're going to become a big Hollywood movie star right off the bat. And it's far from the truth. I've met people here who's been here 5+ years who haven't got one role in anything. And they have a hard time finding gigs or an agent because, one, there's so many people here. And two, everybody's here trying to be an actor. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that sets you apart from everybody else. So you have to come prepared in a sense. For me, LA is not a place where you want to come with no credits at all because you ain't getting nothing.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? I think
that piggybacks off of what I was saying, where if it got the respect that it deserved, then people would understand that the same thing that goes into, you want to be a brain surgeon, right? Or you want to be a dentist. There's certain things you got to do to get to that point where you can be a dentist, you can be a brain surgeon, you can be a lawyer, all those, straight and narrow path, 9-to-5 shits. It's the same thing with being an actor. There's certain, you got to have certain credentials. There's certain things you have to do, certain things you got to fulfill. It's the same thing. People don't understand. Like, when you get on these sets, it's not a joke. Like, it's just as professional as any other, you're strict, a lawyer, whatever. It's just as professional. They don't fool around over there.
Yeah, it might be even more.
That's a big misconception.
Yeah, especially I always tell people, like, if you think Robert Downey Jr. Well, actually, I won't use him as an example because he's kind of achieved that stardom. If you think someone like, for instance, Tom Holland, even though he's successful now, but you think he could just walk up to a set where the budget's like $25+ million, and you getting paid $500, to $5 million, that you can just stroll up on set and don't know your lines and not pay attention to the director, they're gonna fire you right on the spot. You getting paid.
Like, it's professional.
And people forget. People don't understand. Like, this is a business at the end of the day. So when you don't get paid, your agent don't get paid. And when your agent don't get paid, then when you get dropped, that's your fault. So it's not to sound harsh, but people have to understand that acting, as fun as it is and how creative it is, there's more of a business behind it than it is being artistic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. It's just the fact that people think that it's just a fun, glamorous time, and they don't realize how much time and effort you put in. And that leads to my last one, is that people think there's a lot of money to be made, and that is really easy. And I would say 90% of the time you're going to fail most of the time. You know what I'm saying? I've been here for a year, and I haven't booked a gig yet. I'll be honest, I haven't booked a gig yet, despite the fact that I'm seeing all these. I'm getting in these rooms with big casting directors and companies. It's hard. You know what I'm saying? And
you're in the conversation.
Exactly.
Which most people aren't.
Right, but people think that you can just up and do a couple student films, and next thing you know, they put you.
Bro, people think, and this is what I hate. You know how many times I get sent like background notices, and people be like, "Oh, you need to do this." It's for like, because people who don't know better would think that like you're like they get random people off the street to like be in Marvel movies.
Yes, yes.
Don't. Yo, I get those all the time. They be sending me this shit.
Bro,
I'm like, bro, like it don't work like that.
I was just having this conversation with one of my roommates. It was like, because I know they do this a lot on Facebook, and now more so on Instagram, where they'll be like, all right, casting Stranger Things, you could be a lead role. Now I'm like, you really think that you have no experience, you have no credit, no nothing. You think they're going to just pick you up off the street, pay you $2 million to be a lead role in a lead production? I don't think so.
Don't work like that, yo.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, I would say I would just tell people, be honest. Like, those things are mostly just background notices. If you want to be a real actor, you have to go out, get some classes, study, get some training, as in like student films, short films, feature films. Yeah, you gotta put in the work, because it's not easy. And then the higher you get, the more pressure it is.
Yeah. All right. So one thing that I feel like it's been like a big theme of the year for me, and it's kind of something that kind of gets me bogged down a little bit, and I wanted to ask y'all about that. So how much like does support from your family and your friends kind of like play in like your path and what you're doing? Like do you feel like could you do without the support, or is it kind of one of the things that keeps you going? So before I kind of like speak on that, I wanted to hear y'all take on it.
Yeah, I feel like, well, it kind of depends. On a personal level, I feel like it's definitely, it's like bonus. It's like icing on a cake for me personally, because the way I see it, if I have something that I really believe in, that I really strongly believe in, then to be honest with you, it doesn't matter who supports me. It doesn't matter if it's friends, family. It doesn't matter if if nobody in the world supports me, that's fine. If I really, really, truly believe in something and nobody in the world supports me, that's fine. Because I believe in me. You know what I mean? So for me, that's something that I find that, it's powerful. It's powerful because if I have to rely on other people's support, then when that support is not there, then I don't have that power. That power then belongs in the hands of others. So that's why I say to me, it's like icing on a cake, because it's like I could be strong without it. I just have to be stronger without it. But I could be strong without it. But if I have it, it boosts me up even more. Having that support really, it gives you more reasons to keep going and keep doing what you're doing, So it's kind of icing on the cake for me, Percy, what you think about that?
I'm not gonna lie, man. You said it so beautifully. I might just.
Yo, that's a fact, yo.
I'm done. I'll see y'all later.
Kirby be knowing, son. I'm telling you.
Later. I'm done. I'm going home. I'll see y'all later. Now, in terms of support and stuff, I used to kind of bank on that, and then I realized at some point that they're not gonna be in the audition room with you. They're not gonna be there to help you book those gigs. So. While it is nice to, when I put out, clip of something I did and people like, yo, I love this, man. You're a good actor, or, you suck, because I like the negative comments too. For me, it helps me. But I don't really so much rely on it anymore because I'll be honest. I remember when I first started, people was like, what are you doing? That's a hobby right there. Go get a real job. I know my mom personally, she wanted me to be a lawyer because I used to love reading books. And, so for her seeing me go off the path, it was kind of like, I support what you do, but I would prefer you do something else. So, and that's not meant as a negative thing for me. I see that as a driving force. But yeah, man, Kirby said it right on the head. It's a icing on the cake. But at the end of the day, if I lost all support tomorrow, I'll still be doing what I'm doing now because I do it because I love it. You know what I'm saying? I don't do it because other people want me to do it.
Yeah. Nah, for me, I think I've kind of always been used to like the pat on the back, so to speak. And, when it gets to a point where like you just like not even really socializing like that, like you don't have any, because the thing is, all right, like I 100% get where you guys are coming from where like I could do without it because like let's say like when you post like I post a YouTube link, check out my videos. 99 or I say 98% of those people that are like looking at it aren't gonna do that shit. So if it's for like the basic like support, I already know I ain't gonna get it. And like it doesn't bother me anyway. Like I could just put it out there. If they watch it, they watch it. If they don't, they don't. But at least I know that I put the effort in. So what happens after that doesn't really matter. I just did my part. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But when it comes to like, let's say like just on those like bad days, like where, you might not be feeling it. And then like you can kind of use that, like that pick me up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I've always had that. And I feel like lately for a minute, I don't even say lately, like just like for a minute, I feel like I haven't had that. So like now, like I'm literally like relying purely on myself. Like when it comes to motivation, like if somebody's going to pick me up, it's going to be me. It's not going to be anybody else. Like, I can't even count on people for that. Like if I just got like a pick me up or something like that. Because the people that support me, obviously it's like y'all, but you know what I'm saying? Like where it's like that more profound kind of support where you might get that from like a brother or, a best friend, you know what I'm saying? Whatever.
Right.
Really? If it's for like that, it's really just my mom. Because when I post videos up, my mom be like the main one. I even have to send them shit to my mom. My mom be the main one commenting on them, and she be thumbsing up the video, dog. And like my older sister. The rest of that, like if somebody I know be watching my videos, be watching my videos. You know what I'm saying? But then that's about it. But the reason why I wanted to know that was because I just been in a space where like not that I need it, but I'm like, damn, like, maybe, I could just recharge my batteries a little bit. It would be nice if I had that, support that I'm looking for, that I feel like I just haven't gotten. I think in this whole time period in my life anyway, I feel like it's just been teaching me like self-reliance because I don't have that crutch no more. So like if I feel like I can't walk, I gotta like pull myself along until I get strong again, so where I can walk. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it sucks. And I feel like if I wanted to be a fucking, a doctor or some, some shit, people be like, oh, you know, I feel like I have a lot more support than like I'm getting right now. But I think it's times like this that really define you, you know, in a way. So I'm like, there's a silver lining to the fact that I don't have that support. So that way I could, you know, look back on it like, man, you know, I had nobody to talk to, or I didn't have the support that I wanted, but shit, I still made it anyway.
Yeah. But here's what's funny about that. What's really funny about that is that when you I look at it like this. If there was a line for support, you know, right? When the people who support you, would be a short line. And then if you have a line next to it for congratulations, it'll be a long ass line.
Yeah.
You know, when you finally do something that's huge and people see like, oh wow, okay, maybe I was sleeping on this guy. Okay, even though I don't understand his path. Like when you do something that other people could feel like is successful, you know, they're quick to say congratulations. But when you do something that other people feel like is questionable, you know, it's like they can't relate, so they can't give that support, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just part of, you know, what we do is kind of like understanding that. But what's really funny is like when you get to that level, and y'all could tell me how y'all would, you know, like take this. If let's say you're doing all this that you're doing right now, and the only people that support you is like, you know, close friends, close family members, or whatever.
Right.
And then boom, you do something, and now you're at the level of what you define as success. Once you get to that level, how do you react to people saying, you know, like congratulations? People who are never there though from the start. People who pull up like, oh, he's doing well. Yo, congrats, bro. Like, how y'all reacting to that?
So somebody walks up to me. So I make something to myself. I'm at like, I don't even see the pinnacle because I don't think that'll ever come. But let's say like I'm just there. Like I just kind of feel like, all right, I'm on the other side now.
Exactly.
Motherfucker come up to me like, oh, yo, what up? That's great. That's great. All right, man. Oh, yeah. All right, man. That's it. Like, all you get. All right, man. Peace. That's it. Because it's like, yo, I wasn't even thinking about putting like a story on my Instagram. Like, yo, if you're sleeping on me, feel free to die in your coma. Your self-induced coma, motherfucker. Because it's like, yo, that's how people are. That's exactly how people. It's like, yo, back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me. That's how it is.
Mm-hmm, right.
You can't. I don't give off that energy where you can come out the woodworks. Like I don't know about other people, but motherfuckers will look at me like I know I can't walk up to him because where were you? Where were you?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Percy might be a nicer guy than me, but me, if you somebody where you not supporting me and you watching this shit, don't come with me. Just don't. Right. Just don't. Just don't.
Man, the first.
All right, man.
Nah, the first thing I do, I'll be Triple H. I'll be like, suck it. Nah. Nah, you know, man, I'm a very I'm a grounded person. So for me, I would say thank you and I keep it moving because I've had this conversation with Dimitri. I keep notice other people, you know, whether I get 10 likes or 100 likes, I keep notice about
who's showing love.
Always there, who's always showing love, who's always commenting and stuff like that. So those are the people that I'm like, you know what, you know, when things are going really well, no, I'm not gonna forget you. No, if I have an opportunity for you, you coming along with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take you along. And I've noticed that too, like you said, especially on social media, and that's a big thing in this industry where a lot of people seek validation on Instagram and stuff and like that. And I used to fall in that rut too, but then I realized I'm like, yo. When I post, you know, I'm going, you know, let's say I got an audition or, you know, or something like that. I'll get 50 likes, whatever. But if I, you know, when I work with Jubilee, for instance, that big YouTube company, then everybody was, oh, man, yo, where's the video? Let me see it and stuff like that. And it's like, why does it take for me to do something really big for you to kind of notice? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I see y'all creeping on my Instagram story. You know what I'm saying? I see y'all watching it. So
because people just waiting. People just waiting so that way they can hop on the bandwagon. You know how many people look at my story every day, but like the last time I talked to them, I'm talking about like when I post a story, it'd be like the same like 8 people the minute that I post some shit. You know what I'm talking about? Like you post a story, like the first couple of minutes,
right.
It'd be the same names. I'm like, damn. And it's not even like when I post something and then like you say, like, all right, cool. Because I know there's a lot of people where I post some shit on Instagram, they ain't gonna like it. Nope. I mean, I appreciate the ones that do, but for me, what goes like a little bit longer way than that is like, let's say like if I hit Kirby up, I'm like, yo, because if I have any ideas, I'm hitting him up. And if I was in his shoes, I would just appreciate that because I don't do his shoes for free. You gotta support. for me, it's kind of like just to call to see how I'm doing. Like, if you have my number, if you know you can get in touch with me, you know what I'm saying? Like, just stuff like that. Like, where me and Percy, we talk. Yo, Kirby, let me tell you, I think I've never been on the phone longer with anybody than this dude back in March. And I'm talking, like, I hadn't spoken to him in like a minute before that. Like, I think we hadn't really talked, like, like maybe a little while. Yeah. And I don't remember why I called, but basically we just chopped it up. And dude, when I got off the phone, this shit said like 3 hours because we were just chopping it up. Right. I'm talking like, because the thing is, what you say? Percy, what'd you say?
I was saying I was a little pissed because I was supposed to have dinner with Tom Cruise that night, so I had to blow him off.
This guy, man, but stuff like that, I remember. Just like how he says, like, even if you get 10 likes, like, I know each 10 of the motherfuckers that like the shit. I'm the same way, where I keep track of like the people that reached out to me, even if it's like something positive. Especially, I respect it even more if like you're on the same path that I'm on, and so you know what it's like. Exactly. You know what I mean? And that's why I really appreciate like y'all too, even just for being here. Like my mom and my older sister, like I'm like, that's great that it's not a lot of people that are supporting me, so it's few people that I have to help if I have the means to help them. Right. I'm like, they say it was lonely at the top. I think I was telling Percy it was lonely at the bottom too. I mean, I'm fine with that. Because if it's like that, then it just prepares you anyway for a world of smoke and mirrors. Because I know if you're somebody that's well known, you're famous for whatever it is that you're doing, your relationships with people are smoke and mirrors. And like he said, you got to be grounded where you'll be able to see that. You know what I mean? If I was in a situation where I was always used to a pat on the back and like my life just revolved around that and I was just used to that, then I'm going to get even more caught up in it when a pat on the back is in abundance. Right. And then what's going to happen when I really do without it? Then we're going to go, like, then that's kind of ties into the topic we're talking about Jessie Taylor, where she's a famous Instagrammer. She lost her Instagram and she felt like she was worthless because she was used to having that pat on the back and shit like that. So I mean, sometimes I guess what I'm saying is sometimes there's a benefit to like not having, support and, you know what I'm saying? That there's like a balance.
It's a fine line. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be used as a motivation. It can push you, if anything, Sometimes when it's like,
to me, that's just Jeff.
I'm putting in all this work, all this energy, and like I'll be honest with you. There's been times where I'll do something that to me it's like, yo, this is huge. This is something huge, and you put it out, and this is one of the things that I see as a problem with social media and this whole facade that's been created. You do something that's great, and let's say you post it, and in terms of like, how many people is liking it or comments or whatever, sometimes, I don't know if this ever happened to you, but sometimes it could be like, I could do something and I post it. And even though like on a level, I know I don't care, but on another level, it's like, damn, like let's say you were to do your greatest work ever, and you were to post it and one person like it. And then, a part of you would be like, damn, really? I thought this was great, And number one, that's a problem because it's a psychological thing that's created through, social media, right? But on the other hand, sometimes like, I see it as when you have that lack of support, it kind of just like, at least for me, it's like fuel. I feel like there's positivity. Yeah, there's not positive positivity. There's positive motivation, and there's also negative motivation. Right. It's just a matter. It's just energy. Motivation is energy. You could get it from something really positive or something really tragic. It just depends what you do with the energy that's going to determine, the outcome. You could be motivated by something that's really, horrible. It just really depends what you do with that energy. And the other thing too, I want to say when it comes to motivation, I feel like most people look at motivation like this. It's like, I feel like people see there's motivation and motivation leads to action. But I look at it like there's action, and then the action leads to motivation, which leads to more action.
Absolutely.
Motivation. Yeah. Because people wait around for motivation. But sometimes you have to do something. And it's what you do that brings them motivation,
Yeah, you got, like I said, you got to get back up on the horse and go. Because, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, the last, 2 weeks, shit, I was, wallowing. I mean, somewhat. You get what I'm saying? I just wasn't in the best headspace. I can keep just sitting there waiting. I'm like, the minute the light bulb on where I was like, oh, shit, I don't have to make gaming content all the time. I can make a trailer reaction. Boom. And I felt way better doing that. Like I was on a high after doing that because I just got up and I just did the shit. And then when it comes to that Instagram thing, my thing is you just have to have the understanding that it's not you. You know, when you post some shit up that's great to you, that's still great. I mean, they don't fuck with it. They don't have to rock with it. It's whatever. Because sometimes like I don't think like, all right, I have like 400 something followers. I don't get half the likes that, you know, somebody else probably would, but that's fine because whatever. You know what I mean? And mind you, I look at my shit anyway, it's like 65% dudes. So I don't expect me to put some like, you know, one of our shoots up and then expect for them to like it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever.
Yeah.
That stuff, all right, stuff like that, like I get exactly where you're coming from because like I've had moments like that where I used to think that way, but I'm like, I know these motherfuckers don't really fuck with me like that anyway. So I give a shit if they like it or not. I know the girls that like, you know, fuck with me are gonna like it anyway. Most of them is girls anyway, which is fine. You know what I mean? I'd rather a whole bunch of girls than a whole bunch of dudes that I haven't heard from since like 2000, you know what I mean, 14, 15, you know, whatever. Because that's why, because we talked about that on his podcast where it's like false validation. Because it doesn't mean anything. Some people, they post a picture up, it gets a lot of love, then they're on a high. No, get on a high from the fact that this was a picture that you really like. That's why it's going to get rid of likes. Because of that, I bet you if they put like Kirby liked it and others liked it, a lot of more people would be posting a lot more stuff if they took something as little as just that one number and they took it away.
Yeah.
Because that changes the way that people view it sometimes. People might think that post is less than because it didn't get a lot of likes. Nigga, no.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think that's just people's distorted, you know, view and perception of social media anyway. You know what I mean? Because it's just like people's judgments and perceptions are askew.
Oh yeah.
Right.
It ain't real. The other thing too that's funny about social media is sometimes this is what I find funny. Your like and comments don't even reflect what people actually even really think. Because what's funny is I bet you there's people out there, and I bet y'all experience this. I know people who's come up to me like, yo, bro, I really like what you're doing. Like, bro, I ain't never seen you like my thing a day. And, you know, like I never, because there's people out there, there's like ghost followers, man. There's like ghost, you know, like, you know, people in the background who they watch everything you post. They just don't like it. They're seeing it though. So sometimes I feel like it doesn't even reflect how many followers you have, how many likes you have. It really doesn't reflect because there could be people behind those screens who's like seeing everything you do, but they're just not publicly stating their opinions because people see it like that too.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Public statement of opinion. So you know, that's that. I think it's funny, and I wonder, you know, what would that look like? A world where if they just remove likes, right? You know, like what would that look like? Because then you have the people who already they don't like it. They see it all the time. They don't like it, and then there's the people who's always going to like it. You know, like. Is that going to change more so how people create, or is it going to change how people interact with the post? You know, I'm kind of like, I think like I would want to see an experiment about that.
They did do that. Like I think it was certain people got that update and some people didn't. I was one of the people that didn't. I think the reason why they didn't get rid of it totally because I think like people who are like influencers, like they want to.
Right.
The companies, they want to see that big ass number on your page.
Yeah.
They want to see that. So how do they know you really have a high engagement rate if that number is not there anymore? So I think they didn't.
It's a metric now.
Yeah. I think that they didn't do it for like business reasons. I was telling him,
true.
I don't know if this was in the podcast or not, but I was saying that YouTube would benefit from that you couldn't see, like you can't see the views until you actually click on the video. Because I'm not even going to front. Sometimes, like, even me, like, if you see a video on YouTube, it's got 2 views. Are you really going to want to watch it?
No.
That's what I'm saying. But mind you, that might be a good-ass video, even if it's not fancy-looking or whatever. Because even, like, the last channel that, like, I went out of my way to subscribe to, he's got, like, 12,000 subs, but he only gets, like, 100-something views, maybe a few hundred, or maybe, like, 1.2K. You know what I'm saying? But he's not a big channel. But I love his freaking perspective. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. But like not everybody looks at it that way. They'll see the number, get turned off by a number, not the video itself. They'll get turned off by the number and be like, I'm not gonna watch it because it's got to. And it's true. I'm like that too, where it makes the video look cheap looking. So let's say if you go on YouTube search, you couldn't see the number and you're gonna click on it. Why? Because of the title and like the thumbnail. the views, take numbers out the equation until you go on it, because then it prevents you from judging it. Because
Yeah,
this
I see
whole
what you
social
mean.
media
Yeah,
is a numbers game.
it is. Yeah.
Because
but this is why TikTok shines, though.
Huh?
Because this is why I feel like TikTok shines. TikTok, I feel like it's such a unique, you know, because everything you're saying, when you think about it, the reason why there's this, like, you could easily get, not easily, but a lot more people get discovered on TikTok nowadays.
That's
you know
true.
why? Because when you post something, you know, they show it to people,
like
and
the
not just your
preview,
followers.
The preview.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think about it when you're swiping on TikTok. If you swipe, you go on somebody's. Let's say I swipe and I go on your video. When I'm swiping, it's not gonna say, you know, it's not gonna show a thumbnail with how many views it has, and then I choose if I want to watch it. If I swipe, it starts playing. You know what I'm saying? And most people, if it already catches my attention, and if I watch the whole thing, it gets you. That's another view. And TikTok is now like, okay, there's a lot more people viewing this. Let me show it to even more people that's outside of, you know, and I feel like that's unique because it goes along with what you're saying. It's not really showing how many views. Even on Instagram, if you swipe down and you pull up on somebody's post, your eyes might see how many views it has as you're watching the video. You know, even on Instagram,
you're already in the video. Like, you're already engaged.
Actually, on TikTok, you can only, when you're watching the video, you see how many likes it has, but you don't see how many views unless you go on the person's page.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because
what's funny? So
back in January, February, I posted like a video of me dancing to "If It Isn't Love" by New Edition. That shit got like 12,000 plays and then like 800 likes. Mind you, that was like the first thing like that I ever posted on there, like literally. And
see, yeah.
Because ironically enough, like right after that, and I was like, oh shit, so let me go back to the dance studio, record more dance videos, fucking pandemic. So then like I can't go to the dance studio anymore. Because I'm that guy where like if I record a video, it's gotta have like the nice presentation. I think people mess with it because of how I presented the video.
Right.
That's true. I was wondering why I didn't know that, because I don't really be on TikTok like that. Like after that little spurt, I haven't really been on there.
Yes, algorithm, and I think and this is why Instagram is real funny, man. But that's why Instagram is basically recreating that with Instagram Reels. It's basically taking that same aspect, and I think that's what separates TikTok. Like anybody, like you could legit, you know, if you go on YouTube, like when you're on YouTube, think about it. The channels that does the best is because they have great quality, you know, they have great content. And then therefore that keeps people there. You know, on Instagram is basically like a portfolio. When you go on people's page, you know, it's like a portfolio. When you go on TikTok, it's different because all that doesn't matter. You could be a 12-year-old kid with an iPhone and have 12,000 followers in 2 minutes. You know, what's really unique is that they're just taking, it's like anybody can upload anything and it's just showing it to people, random people across the world. And then the more people get attuned to it, it starts showing it to more people. But if nobody's really interacting with it or watching it, then it shows it to less people. And then that kind of makes it where it's like it's more, you know, like it's easier to get discovered. But I like that personally because the way that these social media apps are now, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even like YouTube, their algorithm favors people and content that's going to get people to stay on the app.
Yeah.
If you're doing really well, especially on YouTube. Like you got a YouTube channel. Percy, I don't know, you do YouTube too? Percy, I'm not, you know, too sure. So you know what I'm saying? I have a YouTube channel, and it's like for us, we're like small YouTubers. It's funny, you could like, yo, Dimitri, you could post great content, great podcasts, but it's not reaching people because YouTube is looking at it like this is a small channel. I'm going to show it to a small amount of people. And then if you're already a big YouTuber and you post this exact same video on an already big YouTube, boom. You know what I mean?
Millions of views, hundreds of thousands.
Suggested,
whatever. That's the main thing I've been telling people. It's like, to me, I can watch my videos. That's the thing. If I can watch my videos, then like I think I'm not biased. I'm not being biased. If it's trash, it's trash. Because there's been videos where like I didn't post the shit up because I just didn't think it was that great. But it's more so the exposure. I was just telling him, like, just some new shit I learned about the YouTube algorithm this morning because I'm still trying to figure out ways to get the exposure because I'm still trying to improve my videos. But at the same time, I know my content is good. I just have to figure out, like, the algorithm or the, you know what I mean, like the tech.
Yeah, how to get it seen, basically.
Because again, I mean, from what I heard about YouTube, and then we'll get on to the next topic. But what I learned about it was the fact that it's supposed to benefit smaller channels because they care a lot more about like the audience retention and the engagement, like the amount of comments and stuff like that, a little bit more than the views. Because like the best video that like I've done so far almost has like 250 views. I didn't even know how that happened because the rest of my videos like aren't that great, but it's because of like the engagement and the retention. So when I look at it, if it's got a freaking almost 50% like watch through rate, then you know what I mean? Because I wish I had gotten on YouTube and all that shit like years ago when it wasn't like that.
Right.
Where you can have a popping video, do a response to that video, then your video will show up right underneath there. If you know what I'm talking about. Back on
exactly.
That
Yeah.
Like I wish I had like that ambition or that mindset. Like, you know what? Let me just get what I need to start the channel. Like even in 2015, because I only watched like 3, maybe 4 YouTubers. They started around that time, like between like 2011 and 2013, maybe 2014, like that area. And then like reaping the benefits now because they started back then. Now everything happens at the right time. I get that because I think if I had started back then anyway, you know, I may or may not have taken it seriously. I know a lot of people that made YouTube channels. You look at their shit 2 years ago, 8 months ago, so they don't even really be on there. Me, shit, I posted a video damn near like 5 videos a week from the beginning of May up until like July, and I kind of like, you know, chilled off a little bit. So, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So, you know, this shit, it's not easy.
Yeah, nah, it's just the exposure.
It's not easy.
Right.
No.
And it's like, you know, it's like they say, you can have the best product, you could be the best at whatever you do, but it doesn't matter if nobody knows about you or nobody knows about what you do.
You got to keep going. You know, because the thing is, there was a point where a lot of the people that you know was popping, you didn't know them when they weren't popping.
Right.
We didn't see them till like after the fact. And me, it's like a lot of my favorite YouTubers, I get more motivated by like watching their old shit when nobody knew them. Because they were still doing it anyway when they didn't have no views. Same content, same everything. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Yo, I want to know. All right, this one, I'm excited to get into. But let's talk about, you know, relationships and when you're a creator. You know, let's talk about that. So, you know, I feel like it's something that's really unique when it's something really unique. You know, when you're in a relationship with a creative. You know, from the perspective of being creative, I feel like even getting in a relationship is something that's creative in itself because it's not. You know, it just can't, I don't know. I look at it like it just can't be traditional. You're not a traditional person. You can't have a traditional, you know, relationship, especially if it's 2 creatives, you know.
Right.
But what do you guys see as, you know, some of the challenges when it comes to relationships, but still trying to, you know, like be on your grind and build, you know, a business or build something of yourself?
Percy, you want me to go? You go.
I think like you had said something earlier. A lot of people don't understand the grind of it, you know, since they're not in it. So for me, I actually just had this conversation when I was back home with my sister and my brothers. So it's like, you know, it's different now that I'm submerging myself in this business. I need my freedom and my time to do what I need to be done, you know, because I can't be spending all my weekends at the bar getting drunk. You know what I'm saying? And that's a lot of relationships nowadays. A lot of people like to go out, have fun. And that's some of the sacrifices I have to make as a, you know, just for my personal, you know, for my business, is like, you know, I could be at the bar and I get an audition. I have to be able to do that audition at a reasonable time. You know what I'm saying? So I need that flexibility for that. And like you said, it is beautiful to meet like-minded people who are creators because like they understand, all right, he got this going on, and it's very tricky. You never know when something's coming up. So you can't really have a traditional relationship with someone because you don't have that traditional lifestyle that they have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so you know, that's what it comes down for me is like, you know, for a lot of us who work and stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? I'll work at night. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things that we would do at night, I can't do no more. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? And then if I do want to do something in the morning, you have to go to work. So it's very conflicting our lifestyles, and I'm not, and that's not saying I would never date a 9 to 5 person because I won't judge, but I think a 9 to 5 person don't understand what it's like to be
two
someone.
Conflicting lifestyles.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So I kind of look at it like I haven't had a problem like being in a relationship with somebody like a girl and then like, doing what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? But I say friends and trying to like get into like the business of like being friends. So like, let's say like most famous people would tell you like they can't hire any like their family or friends because they know they can't do the job. Like that sort of thing. I've lost friendships over like, doing what I do or pursuing what I want to pursue because I'm around people that don't have the same ambition as me. And it's just annoying. And the reason why I get annoyed by that is because you say that you want the same things that I want, but yet you're not moving. You know what I'm saying? So like, let's say if you have a friend, Kirby, and then you tell them, or they tell you, and I'm pretty sure this may or may not have happened to you, but let's say if they're like, oh yeah, Kirby, all right, so I want to do a shoot with you. How much is a shoot? Oh, this much. Oh, I don't know, man. Or they'll tell you, they're gonna come through, and then they don't do it. Hey, let's start a YouTube channel. Let's start a podcast, and then like they're not committed to the shit. You know what I'm saying? So then you really want it, and then they don't really want it like that. But then yet they keep fronting you like they want the shit. And for me,
I feel that.
For me, I'm at a point in my life where like, yo, this is all I have. Like this is all that I have. Like this is what I'm banking on. So if you're gonna be around me, like you got to be about the shit, or you're not.
Right.
For real, I'm talking about like my best friends gone. You know what I mean? Like even I seen this meme on Instagram where it's like, yo, you got to be around like people that are like as hungry as you, because when you start to make moves and you talk about it, it's gonna sound like you bragging. It's true. It's true. Like, and I'm
that is true.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you go to somebody and you like, yo, I got my own studio, blah blah blah, and then somebody that hasn't done shit.
Oh, that's nice.
That hasn't done anything, and then they like resent you on the low for the fact that you're making progress. Because my mindset is like, you get one 2020 once, you get one 2019 once. You can't, and I've said this to my friends that I'm not friends with no more. I'm like, yo, you can't end the year. You can't have your January and your December can't look the same. You can't end your year the same way you started it. I've literally sat there, had like hour-long conversations, like trying to like get people's mind right and stuff like that. Like, yo, let's do shoots. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I might not have the extra bread. So I should be able to, you know what I mean, get my friend who can get, shoots for himself and do certain things to be able to get into the business of friendships. Like, all right, cool. I'm depending on you to get this done. You can't do that. Like, it's so hard. Like, it doesn't work. Because I tried it already. Like, it's literally like Percy. He's like, because mind you, when I was thinking about somebody to do the shit when shit fell off with my fucking cousin, he was the first person I thought of. You know why? Because he's already doing it. I don't have to. He doesn't wait till I get him to start doing it. He's doing it by himself.
All right.
Same thing with you. Like, you're already a photographer, so it's not like I'm hassling you to do a shoot. That's what you do on a day-to-day.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, yo, and like, to me, that's probably like the most like frustrating thing about like this whole shit, because it's hard to like have, you know what I mean? Like, it's literally like you're around people who are on the same type of time, or you're not.
Right.
They're gonna hold you up. They're gonna resent you on the low. So when you're like, oh, I got a gig, I did this, I did that, it's gonna sound like you bragging. And then like they're either gonna like try to do things on purpose to hold you up, or they're not gonna want to hang out with you no more.
Yeah. Before I'll let you speak, Herbert, I want to piggyback on something he said. I actually thought about this the other day, why a lot of famous people kind of drop their friends and stuff when they get famous. And they clicked to me, because I've noticed that when I needed something, from friends or whatever, they're not there for me. You know what I'm saying? When I have episodes of my podcast that I want people to join, or they reach out to me to do, and then they flake on me at the last minute. I see why a lot of people, when they get to a certain success, they start making their circle smaller. Because, for me, I don't have a lot of friends, especially in LA. Most of my friends are in New York, because I've noticed here a lot of people will tell you, hey, man, I'm all about helping you. Let's do this. Let's meet up on Thursday at 2:00. And then you don't hear from them again. It's like they don't even have your number. And it's like, I can't live with people. I can't work with people like that. So I've learned to separate personal from business. You know what I'm saying? We could go hang out, but if I know I have a podcast or something to do, I have an audition to shoot, you're not going to be somebody I'm going to call, because every time I try to call you, something's happening. And now you're putting my livelihood in jeopardy. You know what I'm saying? So it's sad that you have to do that, man. Like, people out here losing friendships over stuff like that. But, no, just a recent example. Yeah, look at Pop Smoke. His old friend set him up and got him killed. For what? Money and jury? So,
really? Wait, so, like, it's out now that, like, it was his friends, like, his own
It was
people?
his friend that set him up.
You see what I'm saying? Basically, because he was the one that made something of himself, then they were jealous about that shit. And then, I mean, I don't know about Pop Smoke or anything like that, but I'm not going to have people around me, like, and then they're not eating. Because they're probably not eating. That's why they did that. But regardless of the fact, you can't be around people that don't have any ambition for themselves. They're like, look, a real friend, like vice versa, should be like, he's making this cool. It should motivate you to see that he's moving.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, or just ask him, like, hey, have a conversation. Like, these are the things that I want to do. How can you help me? Because Pop, you have a platform. So how can you help me? Not that you're giving me anything, but how can you help me? Right. I'm pretty sure if they had that conversation, he would have helped.
Yeah.
You see how I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know that. I thought he just put his address out and then motherfuckers found out where he was and then off his ass. That's what I didn't know, that was his people. You see how sad that is, bro? Like I said, that shit just breaks my heart, the fact that those are his people that did that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that but it's like you said, you have to be able to separate it where like you won't even come into my mind when I have something I want to work on or I want to make a move. I want to do anything. Like, we're just pure friends. That's it. Like, don't ask me about nothing. I'm not going to tell you nothing. We're just friends. I'm not going to mix the two. Because I think that might be my problem. It's like every time like I make plays, like in basketball terms, like I make a play, I have the people closest to me and I always try to involve them. Sometimes I feel like I do that shit to a fault because some people, they don't want these things for themselves. You know what I mean? Like, they just might not aspire for that. And then, like, instead of just being honest about the fact, they're like, yeah, what? Because these are the things that I always heard. When we get on. Yo, when I get on, I'm going to do this. When I get on, I'm going to do that.
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, can you, like, put the 2K down for a minute and then, like, focus on, like, the profession of it? Because he's a photographer. It's a profession. You're an actor. It's a profession. I'm an actor. It's a fucking profession. It's not a joke. Like, it's not, where somebody's going to come up and go do something for you, especially now when you make music. They're looking for people that already did it for themselves. It's not like the 90s or the 2000s anymore where, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. When you're an actor, you can't just come and say, oh, I'm a walk-on. No, they want to see that background. They want to see that history. They want to see those credits. It's the same thing with everything in life. It's the same thing with everything in life. So when you have people that, like, don't get it, just be honest about the shit. You know what I mean? Not everybody wants to be rich. Not everybody wants to be famous. Not everybody wants to be creative.
Right.
Why I get mad is not that you don't want that. I get mad when you lie to me and then you make me waste mental energy and time bringing you in on something that you knew for damn sure you didn't want to do the shit in the fucking first place. That to me, like in the last year, I say precisely like the last year. So from 2019 around this time to now has been like the most like unfortunate, frustrating like thing ever. Is when you lose friendships over shit like that. And I don't blame myself because you said if I have to convince you to do something that you say you love to do, that you want to do,
then you wasn't really trying to do it. Yeah.
You don't want it. And like off that pure statement, I lost a friend off of that. Straight up. Straight up. And I didn't even say it. Like I just reposted some shit. And then like, see what I'm saying? Like that's why I'm like, yo, like everything that could have already happened to like deter me, like in life, already happened already. And the business of friendship is like one of them. Where again, if I want to do something, I know Percy's good for it. If I have an idea, I know you're good for it. Absolutely. And then, because that's what y'all already do. We're not, you know what I'm saying? It's not a friendship thing. It's like we're all friends. It's the business of friendship, but at the same time, it's more so like, you get what I'm saying.
Business.
Yeah. I feel like it's like for example, it's the whole idea of there's people who are entrepreneurs and then there's people who are entrepreneurs.
You said entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's what I feel like it's like. Because there's some people who like the lifestyle that we live to
I never heard that before.
This is life. Like, yo, to us, this is the life that we choose to live, right? To some people, they just want to dabble. They just want to know, okay, what is it? And that's the thing, though. You know, like me personally, I don't want to be around people who want to dabble. I want to be around the people who's in this. I'm talking about people who, like, I'm the type of person, man, you could call me boring, but I don't need friends to go hang out with. I don't need to, you know what I'm saying, like this and that. Like, I'm the type of person, shoot, I would rather spend my days and my nights just working on this lifestyle than going out. And if I have, you know, like, and I always look at it like this too. Like, you know, I've had stages in my life where it's like, you know, I try to balance, like, trying to do this, live this lifestyle, but also still having fun, you know, maybe going to parties or just hanging out with friends and this and that. But what I started to notice, you know, from that is it's almost like what is really coming out of that. And what I really noticed is that when I chose not to do that, the people that I would be around, it's like there's going to be people who support you not doing what you want to do. That's what you got to realize. That's what's sad, though. It's sad. That's a fact. But there's low-key people who's going to support you doing not what you want to do.
That's a fact.
If they're in it, there's going to be people who's like, oh, we should hang out, bro. Like, we should link up, blah, blah, blah. You know, because they know when you linking up and y'all doing whatever, it could be fun, but you're not working on your craft. They're not doing it, and that's because they don't want to do it. They're not at that same level, and they would rather you be a part of that world with them. So when you start moving different, when you're like, yo, my bad, I can't come out today because I have to finish this. Or when people don't see you for a while because you working, you know, you're going to start noticing there's people who become, you know, distant, or they act like you're acting funny, but it's really just you stepping into your place and saying, yo, I got to focus on this. And this is what I noticed when it gets to people who they don't understand that. When you're like, yo, I got to focus on this. Yo, come on, are you serious? It's only going to be, you know, like, it's only one night or it's only this and that. When you have that, it's like, all right, red flag.
People really be saying that to you?
Bro, red flag. You know what I'm saying? When you have that, it's like, it's red flag.
Or you know, another thing too, it's like, let's say if you tell somebody this is your best friend, right? And then you tell them, like, all right, you know, by this certain time, I want to do this thing. I have this goal that I want to achieve, right? They're not really your friend if you didn't accomplish the shit. And then, like, they're like they should be upset to hear that you didn't accomplish the goal in the time frame that you set out to accomplish the shit.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, because they'll be like, oh, okay. Like, they don't fucking care. They really don't care.
But when you blow up, they'll be there.
That's like if I tell you, all right, I want to do a fucking short film at this time. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I want to do. And I'm telling Percy this shit. And then, like, as a friend, like, if he really cares about my goals and it's like a mutual thing, he should be like, oh, so how'd that student film come along? Like,
exactly.
Motherfuckers should ask you about that shit. They're not going to ask you about it, and they're not going to care if you never do it. Like, if you just like you said, people support you not doing shit.
Yeah.
Like, I man, like, that shit pisses me the fuck off, bro. Like that. It's just, you know what I mean? Like, it just really pisses me off because, like, I'm a real friend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm somebody's friend, I'm their friend. Yeah. Like, I told people, I'm like, yo, the summer's a failure if you don't do what you told me you said you were gonna do.
Yeah, you gotta keep people accountable.
I said this shit last year. I was like, yo, you said you want to do this, right? Okay, so then the summer's a failure. It was in June. I said the summer's a failure if you don't do that one thing. No wonder why I probably haven't fallen out, because that whole conversation is cap. If you really just didn't do anything from then, and then you looking at me, I'm doing all the shit that I said I wanted to do.
Right. Yeah, man.
1 + 0 is still 1. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, man, it's crazy how, like, one of the things I would notice when I started the podcast was, like, when I first started, it was a struggle to get people, right? And then as it started to get more listens and followers and stuff, then I had people reach out to me, right? I'm thinking, all right, I got a topic for us, right? You reached out to me. And you flaking on me? That's how it's going to be? Right. So that just tells me right there, like, first of all, you wasting my time. You know what I'm saying? And I can't work with you no more. And one of the biggest things I've noticed, too, is that I did an episode on my podcast with one of my high school friends who's he's a Netflix TV star. And I remember there was a bunch of people who finally like, oh, hey, man, you know, what you up to, man? Can I join your podcast? Who's your friend? Can I meet him? I'm like, wait. So it took me to have him on the show for you to finally reach out to me. That's how we doing. And like, I've noticed, man, like it's sad, man, but like some people just in it for the glory. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, they dabblers. You know, they don't want to live the lifestyle, but they want to be involved when the big moments happen, when you know the lights and the cameras are up and rolling. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever.
And that's messed up, man. Like people are like that, but you know. And but I did have a question for you, Kirby. I'm curious. Since you're a photographer, how often have you gotten people, friends, family, or whatever? Not so much family. Because you know everybody wants the family discount, but people like, hey man, yo, can I get a photo shoot for free? Or
we talked about that, yeah, yo. Me and Kirby talked about that, like not the last time, but the first time we was in the studio. Yeah, we talked about that shit. Let them know, bro.
Yo, I just think it's funny how it happens, and it's funny how often it happens. And what's even funny is how, like, you just wouldn't expect people like to not understand that much. I've gotten people who, you know, like would hit me up. And number one, I always, like, I'm the type of person, I'm aware of, you know, how you approach somebody. Like, there's a difference if somebody hits you up in your DM, like, let's shoot. Versus, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That versus like, hey, I love your work. I would love to work with you. What are your rates? Two different energy. So if I get that first energy that let's shoot, all right, I'm already, you know what I'm saying? I'm already like, okay, let me prepare myself for this. And at this point, I could already see the signs. And it's like, you know, I might be like, okay, cool. Like, what's up? Let me know. What are you looking to do? I want to get an understanding because that tells me nothing. Yeah, right. That tells me nothing. And once it gets to the details, it's like, you know, it's just like, yo, I want to shoot. And I'm like, okay, well, let me set the expectations. I'm going to tell you how this works. Because I already know most people assume it's just something that people do for free. Like, you know, photography is free. And here's what made no sense to me. It's like, would you ever walk in a barbershop and be like, yo, bro, hook me up with this cut. I got you with exposure.
What?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But people,
I would pay to see something like that.
Yeah.
Go to my old barbershop and then be like, yo, let me get this cut.
Wait,
yo, I
got you. Yo, that's how some people really think it's like that. Some people approach me and they think they would be doing me a favor if I were to shoot with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had females, they might have like 10K followers, 15K followers, blah, blah, blah. So, let's do a shoot, you know? And I bring up the rate conversations like, I thought it was going to be free, you know, because, and I'm just like, look, there's a difference. And here's the thing. Here's the topic I want to like touch on within that realm. I look at it this way. Here's a photographer's perspective, at least my personal. I look at it this way. What I do is, granted, you could, like, there's times that I shoot photography when it's not professional work. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just do it. Like, it's still passion, you know, but it's also work. It's just like, I legit know barbers who really love cutting hair. Like, they're passionate about it. Yeah. And they could do it and they get paid for it. But sometimes they do it for the craft. Like, I really know people like that. And that's how my barber is. That's why I stick with my barber. Because I already know he's always going to hook me up with the most fire, you know, because I'm happy because of that. So from that perspective, like, I always look at it like this. If somebody comes to me and they want my service, obviously that's a charge. You're requesting me to, my time. Because what I'm bringing is not only is it my time, it's my creativity, my vision, my assets.
My energy.
Do you think that photo is gonna come, like, I'm just gonna wink and it's gonna produce? No, like, that camera costs bread.
People don't get it.
You saying?
Not only that, the camera, in my case, studio, like, who's paying for the studio? The lighting, there's thousands and thousands of dollars that goes into it.
You got upkeep, you got overhead, motherfucker.
Exactly.
I got overhead, bitch.
Yeah, and you know, when it's like that, if you come into me and you're requesting my service, obviously it's going to be a charge. If you go to a barber, you're requesting a haircut, it's going to be a charge.
And you know what's funny?
I personally, my bad to cut you off, bro.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, you know what's funny? he's not lying, because even me, I had a camera back in like 2000. Well, I still got my camera, and then there was a time where I was shooting people, and when I would ask for like a little $50, none.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Nah, for real. And it's like I look at it this: the times that I do shoots that are free, because I have, is the times that it's, if I, especially like if you look at the work that's on my page, you know, most of those are actually the shoots that those are, I would say, like the free shoots, because those are the collaborations where it's like, if I see, like, I've had times, there's certain shoots on my page where I see a concept in my head, I just see a vision, and I see the person who would just fit that so perfectly. Like one of the shoots on my page, it was I basically was recreating, I kind of wanted to have like a very rooted, you know, like Afrocentric vibe. I had the idea. I love Pinterest. I create mood boards and everything, and I knew the perfect person for it. So I hit her up, sent her the idea. She was like, "Oh, I love this. This is great. Let's do it." And we did it. Shoots like that. If I'm coming to you and I'm presenting an idea, I can't charge you for that. I can't be like, yo, what's good, bro? Listen, I have this fire idea for this shoot, and I would love, you know, for you to be a part of it and be the main subject of it. It's gonna be $200. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not gonna work like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But if somebody is coming to me and they're like, yo, I need, you know, some photos for this or that, or yo, I have, you know, like something that I want to do, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be bringing value to your idea. Your idea, like, yeah, actually, people could make it come alive by themselves. Sure, you can go out and get a camera. You could have a photo shoot yourself. You know what I'm saying? But the value that's coming to it is, there's like the perspective, the imagery, like the experience that I'm getting is not the same experience that you could provide for yourself. Or it's like, even when it comes to choosing a photographer, so I break it down like me. I look at it from an experience perspective, not just the photos. It's the experience that goes behind it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel great. It's like, imagine if you go to a studio for a photo shoot. You go to a studio, you get there, and it's like, okay, cool. Snap. All right, we're done. You get the photos. That's great. But imagine you go there and, you know, it's like you're learning parts of yourself where you have to, you're challenged, you put in an atmosphere where you're having fun, you know, you're talking, having fun, and you're producing something. Because I feel like that comes down to like chemistry. People don't need to understand this too. A great photographer, I feel like, is a photographer that knows how to, you know, create and show the chemistry on the in the images. You know, it's like legit just creating a whole experience. So for me, yeah, I think like, you know, like I've definitely had that where people hit me up and just expect that, you know, like a lot of times, like, nah, it's free. But I do find that, like, you know, like sometimes, like, I don't go about it like, it's not like somebody hit me up like, yo, let's do a shoot, you know, like, and if they expect it to be free, I'm not just gonna be like, yo, nah, it's not free. It's gonna be this much. I understand that most of the world doesn't know how this field works, so you got to educate. So that's that's my, you know, I look at it like it's my responsibility. At least now, if I educate you, even if somebody pulls up to me like, yo, let's shoot for free, and I educate them like, all right, it's not gonna work like that. At least now they know the next time they hit somebody up, they're not gonna approach them with let's shoot. You know, it's gonna be, at least now they know, okay, well, this person has value that they're bringing. They have assets, their time, and you know, it's all about, like, it's like respecting that person's time.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? Even when it comes to like costing people stuff, I've had shows and then like people don't want to pull up because it costs bread.
Yo,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, one of my favorite play like that I've ever did, like close bros, none of the niggas were there. None of them were there because it costed bread.
But what's funny is people are so quick to spend like $200, $300, $400, $500 for a ticket to go to a Beyonce or Drake concert.
Yeah,
but your friends, you know, your friend's little event or whatever it is that costs like $40 or something. It's like,
it costs. Oh no, man.
I don't got it, bro.
I gotta stay on I gotta play 2K. I gotta smoke.
My girl pregnant, even though she in Virginia, you in DC. Man, since you talking about that, man, it's one of those things. Like, I had to learn that time is money. You know what I'm saying? I used to do a lot of free gigs. Obviously, when you start up, especially in the acting world, you have to do a lot of free gigs. I mean, that's just the only way you're gonna get that resume done. And then I got to a certain, like where I am now, I only audition for paid stuff. I don't do anything free. But that doesn't mean like if someone's like, hey man, you know, I had this concept for this feature film. Would you like to be involved? I won't say no. Why? Because you came to me correct. That's a way for me to learn more, study my craft a little more. You know what I'm saying? And I respect that. You gave me the opportunity and I'll take it. Why not? But when people, you know, try to say, hey man, can I do your podcast, man? And it's like, you're not going to give me nothing in return, not even like a shout out or anything like that. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? At this point, I don't do a lot of things for free anymore. When it comes to acting, it's only paid stuff. And that's mostly due to the fact that I have an agent now, so I can't just be out here doing all the free stuff because they got to get paid too. But people don't understand that. They think I'm just trying to be an a-hole about it. And it's like, look, man, would you be driving 3, 4, 5 hours for free stuff? No. Come on. You got bills to pay. That's gas money right there.
Kirby, right? It got so bad that this person didn't understand like the idea of like time and like value in money. I had to call Percy. I had to call him. And Percy, you know what I'm talking about? Like when I was with dude, and then like this dude was trying to tell me, like, 'cause I'm past that point where I'm doing background and I'm doing, you know, gigs where I gotta there's just, it costs me more than I get. You know what I'm saying? There's just not a lot of return on that investment of time. Right. This dude literally tried to, because there was a while, that's how I met him, by investing all that time because it costs money to drive places, it costs money to pay for tolls, all that stuff. This dude literally tried to tell me that I'm not grinding or that I haven't been on my grind because I stopped going to gigs and stuff that I felt like just wouldn't benefit me in the long, that just offer no value to me at this stage on my path. Right. It really got that bad where I had to call this dude and for him to break this shit down to this guy because he literally just wasn't listening. Like, people do not get it. Yeah. And then I'm talking about is creative too. So I don't understand where the disconnect is at, but I guess because he's not an actor, he just don't get it. So to him, it's looking like you pass up an opportunity. I'm like, dude, you don't get it. Like, you don't know what I'm talking about. So how? Tell him. First, tell him.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that dude was clueless. I had to give him a whole class about it. And this comes to so I had a conversation with my agent right before I signed with them. And he said something that stuck out to me the most. He said, "Do you think Morgan Freeman out here doing free roles and stuff?" No. Yeah. But people don't. He don't call people. People call him, and he gets paid for it. And that's how you kind of have to do, because I love acting. I do. But I'm not going to be 35 still doing it for free, not getting paid for it. I don't want to be working fast food jobs. I want to be having to work a job and finding time to maybe squeeze an audition in. That's not what I moved here for. So, I try to tell people, like, at some point you have to level up. If you don't level up, you ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? You got to move out the free work and start get paid for what you do. Because like you said, you got a camera you have to pay for, you have studio time to pay for, you have to find a location. Right. That's time and that's money right there. Yeah. You may not ask them to cover all your bills, but help me out. You know what I'm saying? I'm providing you a service and it's not free. You know what I'm saying? 2 hours out of your day is gone.
Well, you know why? Because those people who don't understand that concept are the ones that they're only able to trade their time for money. They don't understand that, like, their time has like a greater value. Yeah. That's why they just get stuck in them jobs. Yeah. And it's Greek when I'm trying to explain, like, yo, I have a lot more to offer than like what you see me doing here. Like, there's another side to this shit. But I don't even bother at this point. Like, I really don't. And I hate to even engage people because I know they're not going to get it. And I hate to just hold the contrary, which is an uneducated contrary opinion. It's not an educated opinion. Because if it was educated, it wouldn't be contrary.
Right, absolutely.
I get told, like, oh, well, you're closed-minded. Hey, I'm closed-minded. I know what the fuck I know. And if you knew, then you'd understand, but you don't know anything. So that's why you're talking.
Right. And it's funny because the flip side of what we're talking about is also people who understand the concept of you should get paid for your time, but don't put in the work. I've met actors here who think they should be paid for everything. But I can't find you on IMDb. You got no credits to your name. How you gonna be? How you gonna be asking people to pay you $5,000 to do a film and nobody know who you are? You know what I'm saying? So there's also that flip side of people out here who don't understand, like,
and it's,
you know.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, and it's like, when it comes to that too, it's kind of like you didn't, like you were saying, even, and I feel like in every field, you don't just start out, you just start doing it and you're getting paid. You offered a lot of time. You know, like for me, at the beginning, I put in a lot of time doing a bunch of free shoots. Before I started, charging, I did, it was just doing free shoots. Yeah, and people don't understand, like, you take your money, and when it's something you're passionate about, like, I don't know about you guys, I'm quick to invest in my art. When it's something that you're passionate about, investing into it is, like, it's not like you're not gonna view it as like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. No, something that can help you grow, something that definitely can, make you better. So for me, it's like I was investing in equipments, and I was investing in the knowledge and understanding. And that's the other thing too, people don't understand. You're bringing knowledge and expertise. That's another thing that's value that you're bringing. But at the beginning, it's like, you're investing so much. Like, you already put in so much time doing it for free. There's only so much, more time you can do it. And I always look at it like this. Like, why is it that people are so quick to pay the people at the top levels? People will pay to, watch a movie with Will Smith in it. Why not pay to watch somebody who's not Will Smith, maybe who's not on Will Smith's level, but other people put in just as much work,
Right.
And it's like, what's funny is they wouldn't be so quick to do it now, but if you were to get to such a huge level, then they would do it. Why? Because they see that
the value.
Yeah, but sometimes, like, and that's why, like, even for me, because I'm in this field and I understand it, if I approach somebody who's a creative and I'm requesting them to do something for me creatively, I approach it in a very different way. Like, I'll give you a perfect example for my LLC, for the logo that I needed done, I approach it in my mind thinking, like, I hit up, a few graphic designers just to kind of get an understanding, because I already know what I want in terms of image and or in terms of the look. And once I found somebody, it was just kind of like, all right, so cool. Let me know how much is it going to cost to do this, because obviously I know I'm not about to hit you up like, yo, but here's the thing too, there's also times where it's like, this is where there's a funny line between it. For me, especially, with the photography, like, I have friends who, they do stuff, but they, they're like, yo, like, might be like really good friends, and they have maybe their own business, or they're doing whatever, and they need photos. Then they hit me up, and it's that conversation, where it's like, just because we're friends, I'm still not gonna do it. It's not like gonna be something that's. I look at it this way, like Percy was saying, like, the approach is gonna matter to how it's approached, But it's like, there's an understanding, like, if it's gonna cost me, then there's gonna have to be some kind of return,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'm the type of person, to be honest. Sometimes I'm not after money. Money is not what I do it for. So if somebody approaches me like, yo, listen, I really need photos for this and that and that and that, and to be honest, I have a really low budget, or I just don't have a budget for the photos, but I could do this for you in return, or here's blah blah blah, like, or even like I've done. Somebody approached me, and they were, like, she was, like, an activist, and she was teaching classes and going around and educating people. And I've watched her for years, and I thought, this is really powerful. I support what you're doing. And especially when we talking about our field, where it's like, it's so left that most people, when you tell them, oh, I'm an actor, I'm sure y'all get the reactions, oh, that's nice. So what do you do for work, kind of a thing, where people just don't have the same level of respect for it as if you say, I'm a doctor. Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's like that. I've seen it where it's like, she's an activist. To say you're an activist is like, well, what do you really do? But I seen her really grinding and putting in the work, and she had an event, and I've seen how much work she was putting into it. And she approached me and she said, look, I'll be honest with you. I don't really have the budget for it, but I support your work. And I was wondering if there's any way you could work with me for, doing the photo shoots for, my event. And, I ended up doing it. And I told her, don't even worry about the cost. I see what you're doing. And,
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's like there's certain things, like it's not always about
money.
the money, and it goes back to what we're saying about support. Like there's so many different ways you could support people and help out. I've gone to friends' events, and I remember this one time, my friend was having an event, it was like a book signing or whatnot, and I couldn't make it. I still bought a ticket. I didn't show up, but I bought a ticket.
That's real.
There's different ways that you can support it. You can support by, either purchasing something from them. You can even support by just sharing. People don't understand the power of just sharing something.
Yeah.
As a photographer, I've gotten bookings off of somebody sharing my work and somebody else seeing that and going, oh my God, I love that. I'm going to contact the photographer. Like, things can make a difference. They might share something that exposes you to somebody who can help get you to the next level of your career.
Some people have a problem with doing that because they're afraid of that outcome that you're talking about.
Exactly. Which is the sad part. That goes back to that.
That's the sad part. And another thing that I wanted to talk about and I wanted to get into was y'all's freaking experiences with naysayers and haters and all of that. Because for me, without saying too much, because I said in the beginning anyway, where I've constantly had to defend, my aspirations, which don't harm anybody. They're my aspirations. They don't affect anybody at all. I've been told from like my own pops, like, you can't do it. Like literally straight up, he said, you can't do it. It's just like literally straight up.
Right.
Like, I don't know if y'all had any
yeah, definitely.
And I'm still here. Because the point I'm making is that everything that could have been said or done to me to like deter my path happened already. Right. It's already been said. It's already been done. Shit, I'm still here. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys could share any experiences that you had like mine. Hopefully not as bad. Hopefully not as traumatic. But
No, I've definitely gotten that throughout the years of doing this on this journey, and it was really. The beautiful thing is there's something I'm starting to see because even for me doing it like with the photography, starting to do it early on. Early on, bro, I was not getting like I feel like support that sometimes that is really great is support from family. And early on, I was not getting that. I was getting the complete opposite. It was like photography, like how are you gonna pay the bills with that? Like what is that gonna do? And I was getting that kind of pushback. But what really made it hard is, and I don't know what your nationality, Percy, but I know Dimitri, like being
Haitian.
like Haitian,
light skin,
like from that perspective, it's like sometimes like parents or just people and the family might not understand what you're trying to do with the vision, and getting that pushback for me, throughout the years, I feel like, man. I've had times where like it did hit me mentally, kind of got to me. But as you can tell, I'm still going stronger. I only use it as fuel. And what's really funny is I got myself into the mentality of believing. And that's a key word, is believing this, because people don't realize that beliefs is a choice. You can program yourself to believe something, to be honest. And that's a powerful thing, or it could be a disempowering thing. You just have to understand
you believe what they're saying.
Exactly. So I got myself to believe that I could be successful at doing this thing that I really love, no matter the circumstances around me. So even through it all, going through that and constantly, like every single day being told no, or just not getting that support. Like I remember the very first time that I quit my job. And the first time the idea was, I'm going to quit. And for 3 months, I'm going to just try to do photography. I want to see what I could do. My alarm. I'm going to see what I could do for myself. This was the first time that I did that. And it was tough because it was all I was hearing was, how are you making any money? How are you doing this and that? But what I noticed is throughout the years, I stayed so strong and I just kept doing it to the point that the same people who did not show me that support, now I'm starting to see it change around. after all that time. But you know, here's what I think is funny. I think it's funny, but at the same time, I think it's empowering, and I love it. Is the fact that the only reason it started changing to where now I am starting to get that support is because they started seeing the progress. They started seeing the progress.
Right.
At first, I was talking, I was like, yeah, photography, this and that. And then it was like, oh, you know, like this must be a phase or something. But nah, for years, it was photography. I was talking about it. And then it was like, now I got my own studio. So now it's like, okay, he's getting serious. Then it's like, oh, now I have an LLC. I have a business. I have clientele. I have this. I have that. And once they see like, wow, like now I'm self-employed. I don't work. You know, used to work for Apple. I don't work for, and that's bro, that's one of the best companies to work for in the world. I left so I could work for me. And
absolutely,
what I love
you
doing.
told me about that. I was like, bro, you okay? I was like,
right. And but that's what
I was like, damn, man.
Right. And it's like, you know, I feel like it's a very tough. It's like mentally, it's like tough where it's like you're trying to do something so strong and it's already risky. It's already, you know, like uncertainty. When I talked about earlier, it's like uncertainty. You don't know. It's like I'm taking a shot in the dark, but there's also people who's like, what are you doing constantly? And just trusting myself to take that leap. And, you know, once I did, you know, like I always said, leaving my job and taking that chance, the main thing it really has taught me in life, because I've done it twice. The first time I did it, you know, what it really taught me is when I just took that leap was, when you jump off the cliff, I use the analogy, you know, it's like jumping off a cliff. When you jump off a cliff, I expected that I was going to develop wings and fly, but that's not what happened. I hit the ground hard. But what that has taught me is that I can hit the ground hard and still get the hell up.
Exactly.
You know, if I know that, I'm going to try again until I'm going to jump over that cliff and I'm going to just levitate and then I'm going to fly all the way up, you know, but yeah, definitely when it comes to haters and naysayers and the lack of support, what I would say is it's going to exist. It's definitely going to exist, but it's up to you how it's going to affect you. That's really what I can say.
That's beautiful.
I quote Will Smith because he said, make the choice now so you don't have to make it later.
Yeah, I love that.
I never forget a lot of shit that he says, and that's one of them. So it doesn't matter to me, you know, what people say, because a lot of those people that are naysayers, they don't have what I want. They don't have anything that I want. So you can't tell me how to get something that you don't even have. So I'm worried about that shit. Another thing that I think is kind of important, you know, when it comes to, you know, being creative and everything like that, is not kind of, you know, putting yourself in a box. You know, Kirby, I know you make, you know, music as well. I know you do, you know, other things outside of photography. And, you know, Percy, you know, you got the podcast, you know, you do other things as well. Me, I got my YouTube channel, other things like that. Kind of to piggyback off of what I was saying earlier, as far as like figuring out ways to stay active. So let's say, you know, when you're an actor, there may come a point where you might not be working. So you gotta sit there and just like not work, or you're gonna stay active. Same thing, you know, with photography. You might not be working with a client, you know, at any given point. You know, there just might be a period where a span of days even where you might not be working, but there's other things that you can do, whether it's you working on your own stuff or, you know, whatever. So I want your guys' opinion on the importance of branching out and what, you know, made you guys want to branch out in the first place.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go first. But yeah, I was gonna say,
skipping the black man. No.
What'd you say?
Skipping the black man.
Nah. But I think it's definitely super important to stay active and I think it's important to diversify yourself, even if it's not, you know, like it doesn't have to be like, if this is something to do, like I always look at it this way. You know, there's passions that are let's say your profit, your income. You can have a passion for your health. You can have a passion for, you know, just to balance yourself, you know, like at the end of the day, life is not one dimensional. There's different aspects of life. There's your career and stuff, but there's also there's other part of your life, like your health, your relationship, your home life, you know, there's all these different aspects. And I think it's important to branch out and to do other things because there's also different aspects of yourself. We're not one dimensional. You know what I mean? Right. So there's always, maybe there's different, it might be a different way of expressing yourself. Like for me, this is why it's super important. You know what I find funny? being on these different sides of the world, I've had this happen to me where there's times when I'm extremely focused. Like right now, I'm like only focused on photography in my business, right? And like I haven't worked on music in a while, and that's really funny for me to say because like months ago, you know, like I wouldn't have said that. Like I used to work on music every single day. So there's times that I will only focus on this and times I only focus on that because you can only focus on one thing at a time. But what's beautiful about it is like right now, like I have people be like, yo, so Kirby, how's the music going? You know? And it's like, that's not my focus right now. But there's been times where music was only focused and that's not photography. And people ask like, you know, how's the photography going and this and that. But I look at it like you need to be able to branch out and do other things because you're not only stuck to one side of yourself. Everything is like, I look at it, everything is a different side of yourself. Like if you you know, like for some people, for example, Dimitri, you have like the podcast going, but you also have the gaming. The gaming is another side of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like this, like with all of us, like we have multiple aspects. There's different things that we're into. Just because you're into dancing doesn't mean you can't be into writing. Just because you're into writing doesn't mean you can't be into swimming. You know what I mean? So it's like I always look at it like that. You know, like for me personally, like I get all these different platforms or all these different streams. I look at it like it accomplishes something completely different for me. Like for the music, it's great because I can express myself in a way through music that I can't with photography. You know, there's times I use photography to express myself creatively, but sometimes I could do it through music in a way that I can't do it through photography. Another one of my passions is reading. Reading takes me to a world that photography is not going to take me to. You know, so I feel like it's definitely important to tap into these different sides of yourself because the other thing too is if we talk about inspiration comes from anywhere. But if you're only doing one thing, you limit your source of inspiration. Yeah. Your source of inspiration becomes like this, where if you're having multiple experiences, you can get inspired by anything, you know? So, and that's why I feel like during the quarantine, like I feel like during the quarantine time, like a lot of people really tapped into different sides of themselves. Some people was at home. Like I had a friend who she legit started painting, bro. And like during that time, and now it's like she's painting all the time, and she discovered that not only does she love it, but she's really good at it. Right. You know, in a short time, she's produced some amazing stuff. She sold her first painting the other day for $80, and it's like it's nothing, but this is when she started over quarantine. This is discovering a certain part of yourself, but sometimes you might not know this is, you know, like, yo, you guys could be acting for all these years, but at any time your career can switch, and that's okay. Yeah. You evolve as people. We never stay the same, you know? Yeah. So that's how I look at it.
Man, you hit around that, man. And I always said, like, I always tell people we should be thankful quarantine because, it's boring, but I think it's boring if you make it boring. You know, I think it because if it was for quarantine, I don't know if I would have started my podcast. And it's been a tremendous success so far. I remember I told my agent, they was like, congratulations, man. I'm glad that you're doing something for yourself. You know why? Because a lot of people are probably emailing them, when's the next audition coming up? You know what I'm saying? And now that I have I'm looking forward to every week that I can do, I don't get preoccupied about when the next big break is coming. I have this coming. Right. I'm starting to see a little income coming from it, better than YouTube. So you know what, man? It's but yeah, man. When it comes to diversifying yourself, I think it's very important. When I first moved to LA, I was just an actor and I did card magic, right? But then I realized, and this is mostly my agent's doing. He was like, you know what, man? Being an actor is cool, but you won't make money off of being an actor for a while, for a lot of people. So, you know, why limit yourself?
Ways to grow.
Exactly. So for the last year, I've did more commercial and voiceover auditions than I did acting. And you know what? I've had so much fun doing it. I never thought I'd do it, but I also see the realistic expectations with it. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people want to be everything. They want to be a director. They want to be a dancer. They want to be an actor. They want to be a model. But let's be realistic with it. You know, are you actually going to be a realistic model? I think that's very important. I think we all should be realistic. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody is fit to do everything that they want to do. So I just diversified myself to the point where I can do different things in the industry that I want to pursue in without leaving my comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be on Dancing with the Stars, even though I'm a good dancer. I just know that's not the case. But, you know, so I think it's been good, man. It's been a good journey so far, you know, doing things I never thought I would do. And I think it's very important, man. Use the time for anybody who's listening. Use this time stuck at home, being unemployed. Don't be depressed. Go find something to do. Go learn a new skill.
Stay active.
You know what I'm saying? Because you never know. 6 months from now, we still stuck at home. You can start making money from it. And then you could quit that minimum wage job that you've been working at.
You never know.
So you never know. Never know.
Because, I mean, even for me, like, I didn't know. Like, it was always a goal of mine to start a YouTube channel. And what's funny, I had been meaning to start it ever since 2018. Like, just little emails, like, you know, little, you know, details. You know how, like, you send yourself stuff, like, that you know you're going to go back to?
Yeah.
And this year kind of really facilitated that because, again, I was home. You know, I had extra bread. And I was like, all right, you know what? Let me actually finally start this YouTube channel because I've been, you know, wanting to do that. Because for me, I was just tired of sitting there and watching, you know, my favorite YouTubers doing something that I know I could do.
Right.
So let me stop, you know, saying I can do it and let me go ahead and do it. And besides, I just wanted to get more return on my investment when I'm playing video games because I don't want to just be sitting there playing video games for hours on end and have no return on that investment beyond bragging rights to say, oh, I beat this boss or I did this, I did that. Let me, you know, be able to record it. I like to record my gaming experiences because sometimes that one thing that might just happen that might never happen again, but now I got it on camera. Now I'm able to capture that moment.
Right.
Where something will be funny so I can have that laugh again. You know, I look forward to doing that, you know. So the pandemic and the quarantine wasn't all bad because this is what came out of it. So now I have that means to be able to stay active. So if I'm not, the gym was closed. So, you know what I'm saying? So this is just another means for me to be able to do that. Yeah, all right. So basically,
let's do it like this.
All right. Lastly, I wanted to ask you guys about what your personal idea of success is and what is making it to y'all. So before I say mine, I'll you know, hear it from you guys real quick.
You know, for me, my definition of success, it used to be about fame and money. And then I realized I'm already a noticeable guy anyway. So honestly, for me, I'd rather just, as long as I can make money doing what I want, I'm good, man. I don't want to be working these odd-end jobs. I don't want to have to be worrying about when the next paycheck is coming from. To be able to live off being an entertainer is my only thing.
Yeah.
I could care less about having 300 million subscribers or followers on Instagram. Right. As long as I make money, pay my bills, drive my Lambos, and go to the strip club, I'm good. No.
That's a fact. Oh, Kirby.
Yeah.
I thought he froze for Kirby just like, oh, my computer don't die again.
Nah, man. Johnny's really bugging it out.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
So, you know, the way I view it, I always look at it like this, you know, because I feel like it's not even about what you can get from it. You know, it's more so like I always view success as, you know, if I'm continuously growing or continuously finding fulfillment. Because the thing is, to me, it doesn't matter if I'm going to find it from photography. It doesn't matter if I'm going to find that fulfillment from whatever I choose, whatever path I choose. But it's just knowing that number. It's like 3 parts to me. It's fulfillment and growth, because I feel like, you know, life, that's what life is about. Life is about growth. At the end of the day, it's all about growing and evolving. So to me, fulfillment and growth. But it's also about, you know, what kind of legacy I leave. So if I'm, you know, through everything that I'm doing, the impact that I have on others, the impact that I have on the world, that to me is going to determine my level of success versus how much I have. it's not about how much I have. It's more so about how much I could give or how much I gave out to me. So that level of impact, you know, that's another way that I define success. And the third just really is, what kind of world do I create? What kind of world do I create for myself? What kind of world do I create for others around me? You know what I mean? Because, you know, like to some people, like not everybody looks at success as having a successful career, this and that. To some people, like growing or raising a beautiful family, that's success to them.
Yeah.
You know, being a great mother, that's success to them. You know?
It looks different to people.
Yeah.
Exactly. So to me, it's definitely about, you know, how much like what impact that you've created, you know, from the world.
Yeah. I'll piggyback off that, bro. You read my mind. I look at it in three parts as well, and mine is kind of like a mixture of the two of y'all, where it's about how I'm influencing people, because my whole thing is I've always wanted to reach people that have come from circumstances that I've come from, which were, you know, less than positive. Yeah, I didn't grow up in the hood or the projects, or I wasn't like in poverty, but at the same time, like there were aspects to my, you know, upbringing that were, I feel like, impoverished, you know, if I'm using the right word, that were just poor. And I feel like there's a lot of, you know, young dudes, probably young women too, that, you know, could use, you know, that like I just want to be the light to somebody else that like Will Smith was for me. You know, I'm talking about somebody telling me that I can't do it, and then like in my headphones while they're talking shit, I got a Will Smith interview telling me you can do it. You know, no plan B because it distracts from plan A. I would love to be that guy for somebody else. I've said that, you know, my end goal, like the majority of my end goal in life doesn't really have much to do with me, because it's about them. If somebody tells me like, yo, bruh, you know, when I was in that situation, man, I was listening to you and I reached this plateau or this area in life because of you, your work, your words, your influence, your positivity, whatever. Like that's one. Two, yeah, just to be able to, you know, do for myself and be, you know, ultimately self-sufficient, because I don't think I will ever be happy in a 9-to-5, you know, where I'm being told what to do. I have no value. They could fire me tomorrow and then nobody would care. That's not life. That's not life to me. It's not security, you know, where it's not yours. You know what I'm saying? You're not working with anybody. You're working for somebody. And then, you know what I'm saying? Your life is, you know, being, you know, dictated to you. I just, you know, personally, I can't do that. And it really just for, you know, the fulfillment, you know, as well, because like I said to y'all, where there's been times where I've left, you know, a theater show and just getting that positive feedback. And then I felt like, man, this is it. Like, even if it wasn't where, you know, fame and fortune and all that other stuff, but I'd be satisfied with still being able to reach people, because even on a small scale, I'm still reaching people. Damn, my last show, I had a little kid, like to me, like him saying that, I don't even know if it meant a whole lot to him, but I can only assume that it did, where people were like, oh, you did a great job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then this little black kid kept on walking by me like all the time. And then like after like the crowd kind of dispersed and not a lot of people were around, he came up to me. He was like, great job, man. You know, I really liked you. And I was like, damn, I see myself in him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's seeing me, you know, looking cool on stage, or however it is that I made him feel. The fact that I like just, he came up to me and was like, you did a good job. To me, that's like in macrocosm, my whole, you know, in microcosm, my whole overall goal in general.
Yeah.
So those are the three aspects to success and really, you know, making it for me. So.
Yeah, I don't have three aspects, but just some briefly. I was just it made me think about a conversation I had with a former coworker, and I remember the conversation was, he was like, "Man, you should get more famous people on your podcast," and I was like, "Yeah, I could do that." But the whole point of me starting it was to give other people a voice. You know what I'm saying? I think people get to a point of success where it's only about people at their level, but they forget about the other people that kind of help them get to where they are. So, you know, for me, that's why I said I want to be able to, you know, financially and stuff, be secure in my career, because I can use my platform to help out others who's struggling. Because this 10 years from now, I may be a successful actor and whatever. And then this is going to be a dude just like us who's starting out, who's trying to get his opportunity. And I want to be able to help people like that, you know, achieve their success. You know what I'm saying? So that's my way of giving back to people.
Yeah. All right. So, any last words you guys got to say for the people? Let them know where they can find you at.
Yeah, you can find me on OnlyFans at feet.com. Let me stop. You can follow me on Instagram at Mr. No Days Off Percy. I got my podcast, Prince of Fresh Air. You get it? But me and Dimitri did a couple episodes on that, so go check that out.
Check
always
them
looking
out.
always looking for new guests.
Check
and
them out.
Thank you for having me on the show, man.
Absolutely.
Few picks on the way.
And I want to say, before we leave off, one last thing is, I just want to say, if you listen to this, just get comfortable being uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's the only way to grow. And life is about growth. That's a fact. We got 2 minutes, so find me on Instagram at KirbyCEO. If you want to check out my photography, it's at kirby.photos. Let's connect and let's make beautiful things happen.
Ooh, he does. He takes really good pictures. I recommend him. So if you're in the area and you're watching this, definitely check him out. You have license to copy me and work with him.
Yeah. Kirby takes good pictures. I take good feet pictures. So just a moment.
That's nasty. Anyway, I hope you made it to the end of this video. I hope you got some insight. So if you're not somebody that lives our lifestyle, you learn something, and if you do, hopefully you got some inspiration hearing our perspective, so you could have something to relate to. I will see you on the next one. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Peace and a ball of head grease, gentlemen.
Love.